Oh, I like StreamYard. They're like, you're live, so it's fun. Okay, so here we are talking about mastering boundaries. And I just got a new camera, so I'm just wondering like how you're receiving it because the other camera was like so close, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to have my whole body, not just my head. Now I see why. Like you can see all the all the mess I need to clean up. All right, let's get into it. All right, so today we're going to talk about mastering your boundaries. It's part 3, and we're going to talk about emotional boundaries and physical boundaries. So, I have a question. Have you ever wondered why it's so upsetting when your boundaries have been challenged or crossed or violated? Like, what is that? Because you feel it on the inside. You feel it. So, what is going on where you feel that, right? And did you know that there are 6 specific types of boundaries? Yeah, I didn't know. Really, there's 7, but we combined 2 and it made it 6. They're emotional boundaries, physical boundaries, sexual boundaries, spiritual boundaries, material boundaries, and time and energy. Those are the 2 we combined because I don't know, they kind of go together. So in this video today, I'm going to talk to you about 2 of the 6 boundaries, and that's emotional and physical. And then over the next couple weeks, I'll go over the other ones. So if you're here live, if you would put hashtag live in the chat or in the comments, and if this is a replay, please put hashtag replay so I'll know what's happening. All right, so let's get started with emotional boundaries. Our society, and I'm going to say especially women, because I don't know what life like is for men, but especially women, we're taught, trained, forced even to disregard our emotions, our feelings, right? It's like, just, be quiet, shut up. You can't have that. You're too loud. You're not loud enough. I mean, it just feels like there's always something wrong. Like we just don't do it right, right? We've been taught to put other people's needs ahead of ours, especially if they're in a position of authority, whatever that is supposed to mean. But if we see someone as above us, we do that. And it's like when we feel those feelings and they feel like they've been violated or challenged, there's a feeling, a sensation that goes through our body. And we may explode by yelling at another person, being ugly to them, or we may implode. And we might implode by doing things like becoming passive aggressive, implode by holding it all in, feeling like we're not worthy of saying anything. So a lot of damage is going on, whether we're exploding out or imploding in. Okay, so just so you know, though, there's a way around this. Now, it takes knowledge, it takes time, and it takes practice, but it is 100% possible to be 100% responsible for how you feel. We've just never been taught that, and so that feels foreign to us. It feels like, no, if they wouldn't do that, I wouldn't feel this. And in a way, that's correct. If they didn't do it, you may not have felt it. But what they did wasn't the cause of the feeling. It just triggered what caused it a long time ago. Okay? So when we can stop blaming others by learning some skills, we have control over ourselves and what's going on in the inside. And it might sound contrary to everything that you've learned, but think about how freeing it would be if we didn't get triggered by whatever somebody else said or did, right? So let's look at this from a little bit different perspective. Let's say you're outside and it starts getting chilly and you're like, woo, it's a little chilly. But then you're like, oh, it's cold. I'm going to go get a jacket. You go get a jacket, you go back outside. It's all good. You're warm. Whatever chilliness out there is not a problem, right? So you know how to take care of yourself in that regard. You don't even have to think about it. It's like, putting the jacket on is going to stop you from being cold. And so you go get a jacket, right? Same kind of concept. What do you do if you're hungry? Do you look outside of yourself and go, oh, I sure hope somebody comes along and asks me if I'm hungry so they can go get me something and feed me? And it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Because you know what to do. You're already well versed in the skill of feeding yourself, however you do it, right? So I said in the skill of feeding yourself. I mean, when we were babies, we were incapable. And so we had other people do it for us. Then we were taught. We're literally taught. This is how you hold a fork and a spoon and you get it in your mouth. And so we're taught how to feed ourselves. But it's now such an automatic behavior that there's no thought given to it. And we actually have quite a lot of automatic behaviors. Literally, we have mastery over certain skills already in our lives. Think about writing your name or signing your name even. Think about reading a book. You don't have to think about what is that word. Obviously, there are going to be some, but you know what I mean. You just fly through the words. It's not a big deal. So basically, you already know how to fix certain problems, but it's because you learned it. It's been stored in certain areas of your mind, and you don't even have to think about it, right? All right. So let's look at this. What happens when you've never been taught how to do something and a situation comes up? And I would say for probably a good 80% of the entire population, possibly of the world, that might be a little too much, maybe 75% of the world, but almost assuredly about 80% of the population in America, male and female, we were not taught how to take care of our emotions. Depending on who you are, you may have been encouraged to go ahead and just do what you're doing, or you may have been encouraged to not do and not listen to and not participate with your emotions, right? So if you're learning something for the first time, how do you do something that you never learned, right? It's like learning a whole new language, learning to become a martial artist, learning to play music for the first time on a new instrument or on an instrument. So when you do those things, you don't expect other people to do them for you. What would be the point of someone else learning a language for you? You learn it yourself. Or doing martial arts, you need that for yourself. Or learning a new language or playing an instrument or whatever. We do that for ourselves because we get the benefit of that. And, you know, if you look at people who have done these things already and they're good at them, they've mastered that skill. They don't really have to think about it. I mean, think of that guitarist up on stage that you know you went to watch and they're just like, and you're like, how in the world do they do that? It's not magic. It's not magic. They practiced. They put in there many, many hours of practice, right? Same thing with martial artists that they just know what they're doing, whatever, and they just do their skill. And think of people that are bilingual and they can just speak 2 languages. I mean, that's not magic. It's something that's learned. Learning it when you're young, easier than learning it when you're old. Just like with the emotions, learning it when you're young for those 20-ish% of people that know how to really handle their own emotions and they don't get upset, way easier only because they've already had a million times to practice, millions in exaggeration. But you get what I'm saying. When we're just starting it now, it's more difficult because we're kind of programmed to go these other ways. And we're trying to say, I want you to go this way now to our brain. And our brain's like, yeah, I'm just so used to going this way. So we do need to take some time, figure it out, learn about it, implement it, get frame of reference. And then we begin to really start more and more going through the process of practicing it until there are people that have this as such an automatic behavior. I'm not quite there yet, but I am doing better. I find there are things that people will do that I used to go, oh, I can't believe they're doing that. I'm so angry about that now I'll go, oh, okay, wait, let's look at that. And I've learned to implement the skill that I've learned, and it's made such a big difference in my life. So what happens when we haven't learned, when people have not learned, is it's frustrating, right? And I'm not going to lie, it's that phrase. It's like, it's simple to learn the skill, but it's not easy to implement. All right. So let's look at some ways that people might influence our emotional lives by blaming or shaming or demeaning us. Okay. So somebody may say to you, it's your fault that I always feel this way. I'm scanning to see about comments and stuff like that, you guys. It's like, it's your fault that I feel this way. That's blaming. It's like, what do you mean it's my fault? Wait, what did I do that you're having an issue, right? All I did was tie my shoe or whatever, and that person's freaking out. So something got triggered inside of them, but they're trying to blame me for whatever upset is going on with them. And we do this a lot. We think, oh man, if they wouldn't do that, I wouldn't get upset. And that happens a lot in our society. We have a tendency to follow and repeat that behavior. We don't have to, but we have to learn another way. The second one was shaming. So I know a lot of our older parents will say this to us children, adult children, especially about like the little kids or whatever, but it's like, you don't call me enough. You should call me more. Or why don't you bring those babies over here? It's like I'm shaming you. I'm not there shaming you into or hoping that you'll change your behavior to satisfy and accommodate whatever is upsetting them. Could be loneliness. They may want connection. We don't know, but it's what we learn. We learn how to like read the tea leaves, right? Because we get specific information about why they're doing what they're doing and how we might be able to help them without succumbing to them. Okay, hope that made sense. The last one is shaming. Sorry, we did shame. The last one is demeaning. And you may have someone in your life that may say something like, you look so ugly in that dress, or why do you say words that hurt your feelings. They demean you. It puts you down, right? So this whole thing so far is all still about emotions. And this is about when we are responsible for our own emotion, that means that we've learned some skills, we've practiced them, we have that frame of reference. And then when someone is speaking us in either blaming, shaming, or demeaning ways, we know enough, we are clear enough that what they say and how they say it is more of an indication of who they are and what's going on in their lives. And we don't have to take it on as our own personal upset. We realize that it's really their problem. But when we know enough and we're clear enough, we may actually be able to help them with what their problem is. Sometimes when we tell people something, they go, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. Revelation, right? And then it's easier to do something because now they've brought it to their conscious mind and they're like, oh, what are some other possibilities? They may not do that, but you can help them do that if you care enough about the person. If you don't, you don't have to. The second boundary we're going to talk about today is physical boundaries, right? So that would include your space, your overall body, and your privacy. Now, if you've ever been around someone or been on the phone with someone and their child kept interrupting, that mom, since I'm talking to you and me, that mom has not set a boundary with their child. They have some weird, it's called, oh my gosh, what is it called? It's when fear described as loved. Fear described as love. And it goes something like this. My child won't think I love them if I don't respond to them. So I have to respond to them even if it's upsetting to me. But that's not quite true. That child may be trying to get your attention, but there is a way to participate with that child so that, you've got to do it outside of the situation. You don't wait till you're on the phone and then they go, Mom, you can't fix it then. But there are ways to work with the child, have language and conversation around it so that there's an understanding that you're going to get on the phone. They're not to interrupt you. And it can work if it's put into practice the right way. All right. So what about having someone just get so close to you? They just like come in your space, right? I don't mean romantic or sexual or anything like that. They're just like, hi, what are you doing? Like, and you're just like, oh my gosh, it's like, you're so close. I can smell your breath, right? It's just too much, too close. So it's a spatial bodily challenge or violation, the violation of your space. And then the third one is if you've ever had maybe a partner or a parent or even a child go through your drawers, your purse, your cell phone, read your journal or anything like that. It's like these are behaviors that are not healthy. And some people don't care. I don't know how they don't care. That makes me crazy. But if you don't care, you don't care. For other people, if it makes you feel uncomfortable, you have the right to speak up. And when your boundaries are being violated, there's a certain sensation, like I had said, that goes through your body, and you know that feeling. It's some sort of anger, like, how dare they, right? We may not speak that out loud for a number of reasons, fear that they might retaliate, or maybe we're just not someone that confronts people, but we implode. And that creates a lot of devastation on the inside of your body from hormones like insulin, cortisol, norepinephrine, things like this, okay? So it's healthy to look at boundaries and decide, where are mine? Which ones are important for me? How do I get other people? How do I do it? How do I get other people to respect my boundaries, right? Skills, right? Skill you can learn, okay? So the more you honor, respect, and love yourself, the more you will understand why that feeling is coming up, right? Or the feeling of the discomfort, right? Your feelings, either one, because your feelings, whether you're having the happy, good, uplifting feelings or frustrating, upsetting, kind of restrictive feelings, every feeling you have is letting you know my needs are not getting met. That's why I feel all this yuckiness. Oh my gosh, my needs are getting met. And this feels great. Like having a connection with a friend or a group of friends. You go out and you have a great time and everybody's chatting, blah, blah, blah. And you have this wonderful time. You leave just feeling like, wow, that was amazing. Your needs are getting met and your feelings are letting you know, yay, they were getting met. But if you're like, oh, I'm so frustrated and aggravated, your needs are not getting met. And your feelings are sharing that information with you. All right. So, let me see if I've covered everything. Your feelings are windows into your needs. How to handle. This is a skill you can learn, a skill you can implement. You know, for probably 40 years, that's like 4 decades, which seems crazy to say, but maybe even 5, I don't know. I didn't even know that it was okay, to have a loving act for myself, right? That it's okay to set a boundary. It was just not expected in my family. They believed that if you're family, there's no boundaries. You can walk in on each other in the bathroom. You can take each other's clothes, share, blah, what's mine is yours. What's yours is mine. And I always found that to be very upsetting to me. And then I would get like shamed. Oh, what's the matter with you? I just want to borrow it. We love each other, right? Yes, but why does this feel so crazy? It's because it's not healthy. It's not good. And it is okay if whatever family you live in, if there's something going on and they're crossing a boundary, and today we only talked about 2 of the 6, but it's why you feel the way you feel. And don't let other people tell you that what you're feeling is wrong, that what you're feeling isn't valid, that what you're feeling is stupid or silly. Every feeling you have is a message for you. It may not be the message they want to hear, but it's a message for you. And so I invite you to start paying attention, like, well, what is that message trying to tell me? Am I feeling expansive and wonderful? Oh, maybe I'm feeling good because my needs were met. Or if I'm feeling kind of yucky and frustrated and restrictive, like I just want to pull back away from the person, what's going on? It's like there's a challenge, something's being challenged. And it could be boundaries. So that's okay. So I'm just going to stop there for today because what are we in? We're like 20 minutes in. Oh my gosh, how does the time go so fast? I have no idea how I can talk this much. Keep trying. I'm like, I'm going to do 5-minute videos. I don't know how I'm going to do that anyway. So this is all for today. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you feel that there's somebody that would appreciate hearing this information. Feel free to share the video. Or like I said, or if I didn't say this, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put 2 links in the comments. It's not going to go into the description. It's going to go in comments because I think I forgot to put it in there. But anyway, this shows on my Facebook page, my business page, and this shows on YouTube. Either one of those places people can go to. If you go to either one, follow me, subscribe, whatever, so that you can get notified when I do another one. In the meantime, I'm doing lives every Tuesday at 2. All right. I am Debbie Pearson, helping you master yourself and your emotions. Have a great weekend. Oh, I didn't tell you about next week. Next week is going to be sexual boundaries and spiritual boundaries. All right. Now I'm going. Have a great week. See you next Tuesday. Bye.